So a student of the Caribbean Civilization course that passed with an A, I know the difficulty that might come with writing the book report for Stuart Hall by Annie Paul. And in this video, I'll be explaining how to write an A plus book report, break down the structure of the book report, take evidence of the themes in the book and the exact pages, and last but not least, show you how to properly cite articles for your book report. So without further ado, let's begin. Alright, so first thing first, what is a book report? A book report is basically an essay discussing the contents of a book. A book report is a written composition that describes, summarizes, and evaluates a work of fiction or non-fiction nature. A book report is similar to an essay, therefore the structure more or less is the same. The structure of a book report has three parts. You have the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. So for the introduction, ensure that your introduction is interesting because teachers will read the introduction and assume if this will be a good report or a bad one without even reading the whole report. So this is important. So what's in the introduction? The book that we are focusing on is Stuart Hall by Annie Paul. And in this book report, the introduction just provides a brief overview of the background of Stuart Hall, place of birth, which was Kingston, Jamaica, family members like his father and his mother, educational background and qualification. You can have his experience. You can state that he was the director of the Birmingham Center. He was also a professor of the sociology, and he also did a number of BBC series. One popular one was the Redemption Song. You'll also highlight the contributions he made to the Caribbean. So right here, you'll be saying, why is he so impactful? What did he do in the Caribbean and the wider world that warrants the fact that we are writing about him right now? And then after all of that, we'll have the thesis statement. But before we can go into the thesis, here is a part of an introduction. Bear in mind, this is just a part of an introduction that could be used. Alright, so here goes. This report is based on a Caribbean biography series entitled Stuart Hall, written by Annie Paul. The context of the story took place in the Caribbean, specifically in Kingston, Jamaica. This book tells the life story of Stuart Hall in his journey from birth on February 3rd, 1932 to becoming a Rhodes Scholar at Oxford University and then a key founder of the globally influential School of Cultural Studies. Then you would add in little information on his educational background, his experience, his qualifications, and his contributions made, and then now we'll have the thesis. Note, for the introduction, a book report is not necessarily about the author, but about who the author is writing about. So you can make mention of who wrote the book, but that's it. Alright, so now that we are at the thesis statement, what is a thesis statement? A thesis statement usually appears at the conclusion of introductory paragraph of a paper. It offers a concise summary of the main points to be spoken about in essay. So this is like a roadmap for the reader to have an understanding of what will be spoken about in the body of the essay and in what order. And if you fail to have a thesis, you basically throw away 15 to 20% of a grade because the essay is like a journey. And without the roadmap, you'll just be wandering about the place. I'm not sure if that analogy even makes sense, but yeah, we're sticking with that. But before we can write a thesis statement, the themes must be highlighted. And a few themes that were evident in the book were classism, colorism, cultural retention, cultural diversity, cultural erasure, alienation, nationalism, social mobility, and matriarchy. I will list the exact pages that each themes can be found on at the end of the video because it is a lot. So here are two thesis statements example. First one, throughout the book report, several themes were tackled such as classism, colorism, cultural diversity, cultural erasure, and alienation. Alright, so the second one is several themes were highlighted in the book, which includes nationalism, alienation, cultural erasure, and social mobility. My advice, do 3 to 5 themes. The only catch is the less themes you do, the more in depth into those themes you'll have to go and how you'll have to connect them to not only in the book but how it affects your society today. So now we are at the body of the essay. So we have done the introduction, we have done our thesis. Now the first paragraph after all that will explain the first theme highlighted in the thesis. So, say the first theme highlighted was classism. The introductory sentence of the first paragraph in the body of the essay would be something like this. Firstly, one of the major themes identified in the book Stuart Hall written by Annie Palm was classism. And then after that, now you'll define what is classism. Classism is the prejudice against people belonging to a particular social class according to the source. So you'll have to find a source. And when I say source, I don't just mean that you're going to just Google what is classism and then just copy and paste it into your essay. No, you're going to have to provide an in-text citation, either the AP or the MLA citation. It just depends on what your teacher says you should use. But you'll find a scholarly definition of the theme you chose. Just ensure that you use the format instructed by your instructor. And I will leave a link in the description below to cite for you if you don't know how to cite properly. I'll also at the end of the video demonstrate how you would cite, so don't worry, I got you covered. Alright, so now that we highlighted our themes, then give definition, the third thing to do is state the example of the themes found in the book. After all, the book report is about Stuart Hall. For example, the theme of classism was evident in the book titled Stuart Hall written by Annie Palm, where it stated, having grown up in such a prestige family, Jesse finds the spirit and attitude of a small planter class and in his source and the page. So you're going to find exactly which pages. And guys, remember I told you that I will give you a list of themes throughout the book and the exact pages towards the end of the video. But just remember to put the evidence that you found in quotation, because if you don't, you get a fat zero whenever you put it in Turnitin. So the fourth thing after the example is explaining why this is so in the book. And you have to link it to various theories. So example, using the same example stated earlier, you can link this and say this is a result of classism that was present in the society. The classism could be linked to the period of colonization where everything European was seen as superior to that of any other culture. So no, you don't have to have one example in each of your paragraph, because if you're doing 3 themes, then you will have to have more examples compared to someone who is doing say 5. So after all that, the 5th thing you will do is conclude your paragraph. And this is just restating back everything said in the paragraph, saying something similar to this. Classism was evident in Stuart Hall society, and the evidence provided in the book solidified the concept, or something like that. So now this process would be repeated for the other themes that you have, the same procedure, whether you're doing 3 or 5 themes. Alright, so now that we finished the body of the essay, we are going to conclude it. And a conclusion essay is basically a lovely summary of the entire thing, well, the main parts at least, and restate the thesis and comment on the book. Just note, you can't exactly restate the thesis the same way you did initially, and comment is really just if you'd encourage other students to read the book and was it beneficial to you. And note, do not put I in it, like I enjoyed the book, etc. Just say something like, this book was very beneficial as it highlighted some of the issues affecting contemporary society, which is linked to the period of colonization and so on. You understand? Cool. Alright, so now that we have finished our book report and we have written our introduction with our thesis, our 3 to 5 paragraphs with all the citation examples, and we have made a lovely conclusion, it is time to do citation. But before that, as promised, I will list some of the themes found in the book. Alright, so what I'll do is I will state the themes and then I will just list them out, and then you can pause the screen and choose what you like. So for diaspora and globalization, you have all of these. For racism and discrimination, you have all of these. For plantation and colonization, like black culture, you have all of these. For social stratification and social class and color, you have all of these. You have the political ideology and communism, you have all of these. Regionalism, you have all of those. You have the language and cultural identity. You have the popular movements, you have the social institutions, families, colonial education, religion, you have all that. You have culture, and last but not least, you have feminism. So guys, as I say, just pause video and choose which one you like. Alright, so now for the citation, and I'm just going to show you so you can just follow along.
So it is really simple. Honestly, it explains everything that you need to know. So I'll just show you an example of one, and then you can do this accordingly. So the first thing you do is add citation, and here you can do all these. You can paste URL for you can do website, books, journal, videos. The more is inclusive of all of these things. When you go here, you can play around and see what you want. But more than likely, you're going to be focusing on probably a website or a book or a journal. So we're going to use book. Even though this is search book title or ISBN number. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick search. Alright, so what normally you can either type it in Google or just type a particular book. So you can say, so say we want to do racism, we can just type in racism and a number of book will come. So you go to Google, type in racism. You can either do that or you can go to Google Scholars. When you go to Google Scholars, you click it because this is where like actual, well, most of the information are credible. So you can try that. So you say you're going to type in, we had articles, so we can just type in racism. Say we type in racism and we search, and we're just going to pick any random one. So we're going to click that, see if it works. It said it's a book. So if you notice, say you take some from information from this book, maybe a definition or so, and you can either type in racism and the press, or if you remember where it said ISBN number, I'll use that format. So the other one is really simple. You can just type in it and you're good. You go and try to find it, and the ISBN number is typically somewhere around here, right where no one really reads. So you search, and here it is at the bottom. So ISBN number. So just go and type in that. Sadly, you can't copy and paste. So 045. So we're going to now search. Alright, so you see it fine. It's the same book, Racism and the Press. And if you notice, it's the same book at the top, Racism and the Press. Same author. So how do you know? And it is credible. Ensure that whenever you're using it, you ensure that it's credible. Alright, so it's credible. So you just click it. What's going to happen now? They're going to automatically cite it for you. Alright, so the date originally published, we wouldn't really know that exactly, but for most of the information it is fine. So you normally just add in all things, but you can add an author, add editor, add translator, however you want to. But so down here now it shows a preview of how it will look. Alright, so you can save it, and it is a citation add, so intake citation. Alright guys, so I'm not sure which method of citation you'll be asked to use, but let's say you have several formats. You have APA 6, 7, Chicago, Harvard. However, you just find out which citation and they can do it, and then you just save your style, and then you so say you finish and you have all the citations. When you add all the citations that you use, then you just go to download work citation, and you can probably just put it to words, or you can just copy and paste, and this will be how it looks. So all you have to do now is just click to copy, and then you just add it to your Word document at the end of the bibliography or so on. So that's it really guys. It's nothing really hard, but if in even that you need, like, you can just go on the website and play around it and you'll be fine. So Yeah.
I just want to say thank you to Sandy Miller for helping me out last year so I can help out persons this year. And guys, if you wouldn't mind just leaving a like, a comment, share with a friend because I'm not in all the UE groups. And well, drop a subscribe and see you in the next video.